Daniel Nate, looking tired but efficient, wipes down the bar. He pours a pint for Sam Payton, who is in his yellow firefighter trousers and cork helmet. Bill Clutterbuck sips a half of ale, his face a roadmap of weathered experience. Pat Clifton, wearing his familiar postman's uniform, sips a lemonade. Dick Spanner PI sits at a small table, polishing his metallic fedora. He emits a faint whirring sound. Toad, resplendent in a velvet smoking jacket, gestures grandly to a waiter for another bottle of champagne. Godfrey, the horse, stands outside the door, occasionally poking his head in. Super Ted is perched on a bar stool, sipping a juice box, while DAWDLE, the bass donkey, meticulously arranges a stack of coasters. Barney, the old English sheepdog, is attempting to catch peanuts in his mouth, most of which bounce off his nose. Suddenly, the door swings open and Joe Camel strides in. He's wearing a leather jacket, sunglasses, even indoors at night, and has a permanent half smirk. A cigarette dangles from his lips. He scans the room, exuding confidence. Behind him, Spuds MacKenzie, in his trench coat and Hawaiian shirt, hustles in, looking for an angle. Nat, the punk rock ogre, trails them, already looking for trouble. Corky, the man with the corkscrew head, lumbers in, looking around with a gentle smile. Kathy, barefoot and effortlessly cool, enters, surveying the scene with an arched eyebrow. Carmel Bunny glides in, a vision of calm allure. Constance, the duck woman, flutters about, looking a little lost. Trip, the skeleton skateboarder, kicks his board against the wall with a clatter. Svrandkaz, the hulking gummy bear barbarian, is the last to enter, immediately bumping into Pat Clifton and nearly knocking him over. Pat, whoa there, big fella, easy does it. Svrandkaz, deep, Russian accent, apologies, small man, doorways too narrow for mighty warrior. Joe Camel leans against the bar, exhales a plume of smoke, and taps a ringed finger on the counter. Joe, right then, you lot, gather round, gather round. Got an idea that's gonna put some lead in your pencils. Daniel stops wiping the bar, intrigued. Daniel, what's on your mind? Joe, grinning, pulling out a crumpled map. Tonight, my friends, we embark on an epic quest, a journey of 12 glorious establishments, a pub crawl, 12 pubs, one night, and we see who lasts the longest. A stunned silence, then a murmur of disbelief. Bill, 12 pubs? Joe, ye mad fool, that's a recipe for disaster. Sam, adjusting his helmet, 12 pubs, even for a firefighter, that sounds like a 4-alarm hangover. Pat, goodness me, Joe, I've got to be up for the morning rounds. Mrs. Goggins won't get her parcel if I'm indisposed. Dawdle, stepping forward, authoritative, and how precisely do you plan to manage the logistics of a 12-pub excursion? We'd need a designated driver, a strict hydration schedule, and a contingency plan for, well, for everything. Godfrey, poking his head in, Yorkshire accent thick, sounds like a terrible idea. That, all that walkin' and drinkin', you'll all end up regretting it. Mark my words. Toad, eyes lighting up, a 12-pub crawl. My dear Joe, you're a genius. What an absolutely splendid, thrilling, utterly foolhardy adventure. Count me in. Spuds, Rick male voice, leaning in conspiratorially. 12 pubs, eh? Think of the opportunities. Free drinks, maybe a few easy marks, some prime time banter. I'm in like Flynn. Nat, snarling, yeah, screw the postman's rounds. Let's get absolutely bladdered. It's what punk rock is all about. Super Ted, but isn't too much alcohol bad for you? Mother Nature always said everything in moderation. Joe, waving a dismissive hand. Moderation is for wimps. Super Ted, this is about proving your mettle. Who's got the stamina, the sheer, unadulterated grit to conquer the Rye Rumble? Barney, rough, fame, fortune. This sounds like it could be my big break. Count Barney in. Dick Spanner, observing everyone. Clicking. Statistically, the probability of successful completion without significant physiological impairment or legal ramifications is less than 3.7%. However, the data for spontaneous human and anthropomorphic entertainment is remarkably high. Kathy, coolly, 12 pubs means 12 chances for someone to try and grope me. Guess I'll just have to keep my wits about me. I'm in. Someone's gotta watch you lot. Carmel Bunny just smiles. A subtle, alluring curve of her lips. Carmel Bunny, West Country accent. Sultry. Sounds like a bit of a laugh, doesn't it? As long as someone else pays for the first few rounds. Constance. Oh, will there be cute boys? I love cute boys. And sparkly drinks. Corky. A gentle smile. Head corkscrew wobbling. I like drinks. And friends. If friends are going. Corky goes too. Trip. Glaswegian accent. 12 pubs? Sounds like a proper challenge. Get some tunes on. Maybe find a decent DJ deck in one of them. I'm game. Daniel Nate watches them all, a faint smile playing on his lips. This is such a stark contrast to his real life. The quiet family nights, the mundane routine. Here, it's vibrant, chaotic, and utterly bizarre. A strange escape. Daniel, to himself, quietly. 12 pubs. What could possibly go wrong? Everything. Probably. Joe. Clapping his hands. That's the spirit. Right. Gather round. Here's the map. First stop. The salty siren. The initial descent fades, replaced by a mixture of curiosity, competitive spirit, and the sheer momentum of Joe's enthusiasm. Even the voices of reason look resigned, perhaps a little intrigued. A motley procession makes its way through the dimly lit streets of Rye. Joe Camel leads, map in hand, sunglasses still on. Spuds Mackenzie trails, muttering to himself. Toad bounces ahead, already tipsy on anticipation. Daniel walks a little behind, observing the group. He feels a strange detachment, like watching a film. Daniel, VO. I'd been stuck in Rye for weeks, maybe months. Time here was different, but tonight, for the first time in a long time, I felt something other than confusion. I felt involved and utterly unprepared. A dimly lit, old-fashioned sailor's pub. Smells of stale beer and salt. A few grizzled regulars eye the newcomers. The group bursts in, filling the small space. Joe. Right. First one down. Everyone get a pint. Daniel. You're on the first round. Daniel. Smiling. Shaking his head. Not tonight. Joe. I'm just observing. Bill. Smart lad. Someone needs to be. Toad is already trying to arm wrestle a burly sailor. Spuds is attempting to sell a genuine antique compass to the bartender. Nat is loudly critiquing the pub's music selection, which is a sea shanty. Nat, this ain't music. Where's the Clash? The Sex Pistols? This is for granddads. Carmel Bunny, settling gracefully onto a stool. Oh, I quite like a good shanty. Nat, reminds me of the sea air. Nat, blushing slightly. Oh, right. Well, if you say so. Carmel. Daniel notes how even Nat, the loudmouth punk, softens around Carmel. Dick Spanner, to Sam. The social dynamics of this collective are proving fascinating. Observe the rapid shift in Nat's aggressive posturing. Sam. Even the toughest owe them soften up for a pretty face. Dick. It's a tale as old as time. That. Barney, excited by the potential for fame, tries to perform a trick, standing on 2 legs and juggling 3 tankards. He drops them all, causing a loud crash. The regulars glare. Barney, oops, almost had it. Corky quickly helps clean up the broken glass, his strength making quick work of it. A stereotypical Irish pub, all green and shamrocks. Lively music plays. The group is already louder. Toad is attempting an Irish jig, spinning wildly and nearly knocking over a tray of drinks. Constance, gleeful, joins him. Her ditzy movements a match for his. Constance. Whee. This is so much fun. Toad. Spinning. The rhythm. It consumes me. Spuds is playing darts. Cheating brazenly. He nudges the board with his foot when no one's looking. Spuds. Look at that. Bullseye. Pure skill. Me old China. Anyone wanna bet on the next round? Super Ted. Frowning. Spuds. That looked like you moved the board. That's not very fair. Spuds. Waving him off. Details. Details. Super Ted. It's all part of the game. Nat is trying to start a sing-along to a punk song, much to the confusion of the Irish band playing. Trip is attempting to scratch records on the pub's ancient jukebox. Trip. Frustrated. This thing's a relic. No mixing board. No decent bass. How am I supposed to drop a beat on this? Daniel gets a wistful look. He thinks of his home. His kids. Daniel, VO. Sometimes, surrounded by all this chaos, I almost forgot why I was here, what I was missing, but it always came back. A dull ache beneath the laughter. A slightly fancier, more pretentious pub. The decor is opulent, the drinks expensive. The group is now significantly louder, their inhibitions lowered. Joe Camel, seeing the elegant bartender, winks. Joe, top shelf, darling, for a top shelf lady, and make it a double. The bartender, unimpressed, just raises an eyebrow. Joe, under his breath to Spuds, tough crowd, maybe she likes a challenge. Pat Clifton, attempting to navigate the crowded room, trips over his own feet, sending a tray of delicate pastries flying. He lands in a heap on a plush sofa. Pat, oh, crumbs. My sincerest apologies. Bill, shaking his head. Pat, lad, are ye alright? That's the third time this hour. Godfrey, who has somehow been persuaded to enter, eyes the expensive surroundings. Godfrey, all this fancy upholstery, bound to get stained. It is. Waste of good money. Dawdle, ever the organizer, tries to herd everyone. Dawdle, right, everyone. Let's keep it moving. We're falling behind schedule. And try not to break anything. Please. Toad, emboldened by alcohol, spots a group of high society types and challenges them to a game of billiards for a ridiculous sum of money. Toad, my dear fellows, a friendly wager? I assure you, my skill with the cue is legendary. He immediately misses a shot, sending the cue ball flying off the table. This pub is a dive. Sticky floors, loud terrible music, questionable clientele. The group enters, now a boisterous, stumbling mess. Chaos erupts almost immediately. Spuds Mackenzie, eyeing a female bartender, attempts a clumsy pass. Spuds, hey there, darling. That smile could melt ice, but I bet I could melt your heart quicker. How about a shot on me? And then maybe, you? The bartender, a no-nonsense woman with a tattoo of a bulldog, glares. Bartender, get your filthy hands off my bar. Short stuff, or I'll use your trench coat as a mop. Spuds recoils, offended. Spuds, whoa, alright, just a bit of banter. No need for the harsh words. Joe Camel steps in, smoother than Spuds. Joe, now, love. My friend here just has a bit of playful charm. Allow me to introduce myself. Kathy intercepts him, a steely look in her eyes. Kathy, don't even think about it. Joe, leave her alone. Joe, sighs. A man can try, can't he? Meanwhile, Nat, fueled by cheap beer and bad music, picks a fight with a large biker at the pool table. Nat, what are you looking at, you big oaf? Never seen a proper punk before? Your mum wears army boots. The biker glares, dropping his pool cue. Biker, what was that, little man? Corky, seeing the situation escalating, gently but firmly steps between them, his large hands resting on both their shoulders. Corky, no fighting. Friends don't fight. Let's all be friends. He subtly pushes them apart, demonstrating his immense strength without any aggression. The biker, surprisingly, backs down, intimidated by Corky's sheer size and gentle nature. Nat, I had him. I was about to give him a right proper headbutt. I was. Corky, no. Headbutts hurt. Dick Spanner watches. Calculating. Dick Spanner, aggression levels are currently 7.2 on a scale of 10. Corky's intervention reduced it by 4.5. A highly efficient de-escalation. Super Ted, witnessing the near brawl, looks distressed. Super Ted, oh dear, is everyone alright? Fighting is never the answer. Trip, meanwhile, has found a karaoke machine. He grabs the microphone, totally unaware of the surrounding chaos. Trip, Glaswegian accent, into the mic. Feedback squealing. Alright, right. This one is for all ye rebels out there. Let's get this party started. He launches into a shockingly off-key, screamed rendition of a punk song. Toad, invigorated, attempts to pogo with him. Sfrandkaz, standing bewildered by the general chaos, accidentally knocks over a stack of beer crates with his cloaked arm. The crash sends bottles scattering. Sfrandkaz, looking at the mess. Oops, my apologies. Modern architecture of beverage storages, inefficient. Daniel Nate leans against the wall, head in hands. This is more chaotic than he could have imagined. He sees Pat Clifton trying to calm a furious bartender whose glass he just broke. Daniel, VO. This was a different kind of fight. Not for survival, not against a force of nature, just a fight against sanity. And gravity. Mostly gravity, actually. A relatively quiet pub, trying to maintain an air of sophistication. The group, however, has brought their own atmosphere. Most are swaying, slurring, or leaning on each other for support. Sam Payton, looking remarkably composed, manages to order a glass of water. Sam, to Bill, 2 more pubs. Bill, we might just make it. What a night for it. Bill, groaning, I'm too old for this nonsense. My liver's protesting. Godfrey, looking even more miserable, is trying to eat a packet of crisps, but his hooves are making it difficult. Godfrey can't even open a packet of salt and vinegar without making a mess. This whole thing's a folly. Carmel Bunny, despite the mayhem, maintains her serene composure. She sips a small drink, occasionally offering a calming word to a flustered Constance. Constance giggles. Everything's so blurry. Are there 2 Joes now? My, how exciting. Pat Clifton, attempting to make amends for earlier mishaps, tries to help the pub owner by stacking shares. He creates an unstable tower that promptly collapses, narrowly missing a small dog. Pat, oh dear, so sorry, little fella. Dawdle, utterly exasperated, throws her hands up. Dawdle, that's it. I give up on maintaining any semblance of order. Just try not to get yourselves arrested before the final pub. Spuds McKenzie, seeing a well-dressed woman, decides to try his luck again, albeit with less bravado. Spuds, whispering to Joe, think she likes a rogue? I've got that certain je ne sais quoi, haven't I? The bad boy charm. Joe, shaking his head, an easy smile. You've got the runaway screaming charm. Spuds, let the smooth operator handle this. Joe saunters over, but the woman simply rolls her eyes and leaves. Kathy just watches, a smirk playing on her lips. Kathy, some things never change. A smoky, dimly lit rock pub. The air is thick with the smell of stale beer and triumph. The survivors stumble in. Daniel Nate, though still sober, feels a general sense of exhaustion mixed with bewildered amusement. Daniel, VO, 12 pubs. We actually made it. Kind of, most of us. Anyway, the drama of being trapped in Rye felt distant tonight, replaced by the sheer, ridiculous joy of shared absurdity. A few have dropped out. Bill Clutterbuck is asleep at a table in the previous pub. Godfrey refused to enter after pub 10. Super Ted tried to fly everyone to the last pub but only managed to hover Pat Clifton a foot off the ground for 5 seconds before running out of cosmic dust. The remaining group is in fine form. For them, Toad is singing off key with Trip, who is still attempting to DJ the ancient pub system. Nat is dancing wildly, elbowing innocent bystanders. Corky is gently swaying, a large, contented smile on his face. Joe Camel raises his last cigarette, a triumphant glint in his shaded eyes. Joe, we did it. You mad fools. We bloody well did it. Who's still standing? Most raise a wobbly hand or limb. Spuds, eyes glazed, still, standing, barely, but standing. Carmel Bunny, a soft chuckle. Quite an achievement. Joe, I might even be a little impressed. Dawdle, wiping her brow. I'm just impressed we didn't end up in a police station. Little did she know. The group, a noisy, shambling horde, spills out of the final pub and congregates outside a brightly lit kebab shop. The smell of grilled meat is intoxicating after hours of drinking. Joe, right. Fuel up. You've earned it. They jostle inside, overwhelming the single, tired kebab shop worker. Kayla, kebab shop worker, exasperated. All right, one at a time. What do you want? Ordering food becomes a Herculean task. Toad, waving a wad of cash. I'll have one of everything, drenched in garlic sauce, and chili, and more. Spuds, slurring, gimme a doner, mate, extra large. Hold the salad, add extra grease. And can I get a $5 for a scratch card? Tell ya what, double or quits. Kayla ignores him. Nat, thumping the counter. I want a proper dirty burger. Something with attitude. And chips. Lots of bleeding chips. Sfrandkaz, pointing at a spinning doner kebab. What is this rotating meat pillar? Is it a sacred totem? Does it grant desires? I will consume it whole. Kayla, rubbing her temples. It's a doner kebab, mate. And no, you can't have the whole thing. Daniel, the most coherent, tries to order for a few of the more incapacitated members. Daniel, 2 chicken sheesh, 1 with extra chili, 1 plain, and a veggie burger for Super Ted. Super Ted looks grateful. Super Ted, thank you. Daniel, near the door, there's a punching machine. Corky, still smiling, walks up to it. Corky, this looks fun. He winds up, his corkscrew head wobbling, and delivers a mighty punch. The machine shatters. The score display goes blank. Kayla screams, my punching machine. That's £500. That is. Spuds McKenzie, seeing an opportunity, tries to hustle the broken machine. Spuds, to a random passerby, see that? Record score. You wanna try? I'll let you have a go for a tenner, if you're brave enough. Joe Camel, not to be outdone, steps up to the now broken machine, gives it a dismissive glance, and then smoothly punches the air next to it, producing a satisfying whoosh. Joe style, lads. It's all about style. At this precise moment, 2 police officers, Constable Pete and Constable Sally, walk into the kebab shop, attracted by the noise. They are on a late night patrol, just wanting a quiet bite. They freeze, taking in the spectacle: a broken punching machine, a shouting kebab worker, a snarling ogre, a disheveled camel, a dog trying to steal chips, and a skeleton attempting to pay with a skateboard. Constable Pete, eyes widening. Oh, goodness me. Constable Sally, sighs, pulling out her notebook. Right, what exactly is going on here? Kayla, points at Corky. He broke my machine, and they are all drunk and disorderly. Constable Pete, drunk and disorderly? That's it. You're all coming down to the station. Joe, smirks, flicks his cigarette butt. Nah, mate. Think you've got the wrong end of the stick. We're just having a bit of fun. Constable Sally, firmly, fun that resulted in criminal damage and public disturbance. Identity yourselves. Nat, seeing the police, feels his punk rock spirit ignite. Nat, pigs, coppers, you'll never take us alive. He suddenly lunges past Constable Pete, trying to make a break for it. Sfrandkaz, thinking this is some kind of tribal challenge, lets out a barbarian yell and accidentally shoulder charges Constable Sally into a pile of pita bread. Constable S. Sally, muffled. Ow, my uniform. Constable Pete, right, that's it. Everyone, hands where I can see them. You're all under arrest. The word arrest jolts the whole group into action. Toad, arrest? Oh, this is marvelous. A proper chase. To the lanes, my rascals. Dawdle, voice of reason breaking. Oh, for goodness sake. Daniel, a surge of adrenaline, grabs a half-eaten kebab from the counter. This is not how he wanted to spend his evening. He sees a chance. Daniel, yelling, this way, back to the Gables. He darts out the door, surprising everyone with his speed. The group, as if on cue, scrambles. Toad leaps over the counter, scattering kebab meat. Spuds tries to pickpocket Constable Pete but only gets his whistle. Corky, in a gentle panic, lifts a struggling Pat Clifton onto his shoulders and dashes out. Carmel Bunny gracefully weaves through the chaos. Cavi, barefoot, glides past the officers with deceptive speed. Trip uses his skateboard to launch himself out of the shop, nearly hitting a parked car. Nat, still shouting insults, tries to start a mosh pit outside. Constance, mistaking it for a game, flutters around, giggling. Barney, seizing his moment, grabs a string of sausages and bolts. Sfrandkaz, still believing he's in a skirmish, throws a handful of chili sauce at Constable Pete, who yelps. Joe Camel, with a final, smooth wink at Kayla, slides out the door backwards. Still cool. Constable Pete, spluttering, covered in chili. Stop. Stop in the name of the law. Constable Sally, emerging from the pita bread, furious. I'll get you, you confectionery brute. The 2 officers burst out of the kebab shop, sirens wailing in the distance. The group streaks through the narrow, cobbled streets of Rye. The police officers are in hot pursuit. Daniel, running surprisingly fast, leads the charge. He's never felt so alive, or so terrified. Daniel, VO, running from the police in a coma-induced fantasy world wasn't exactly what I imagined my life would be, but somehow, Tonight, it felt real and strangely liberating. Sam, to Daniel, panting, "You're a lot quicker than you look, Daniel. Good man." They reach the Three Gables. The door is slightly ajar. With a final burst of energy, they all tumble inside, a cacophony of gasps, thuds, and giggles. Daniel slams the door shut just as Constable Pete and Constable Sally round the corner. They slam into the closed door. Constable Pete, rubbing his nose, blast. They've barricaded themselves in. Inside, the group is a mess of exhilaration and exhaustion. They collapse onto sofas, chairs, and the floor. Joe, out of breath, but triumphant. We show them. The Rye Rumble, undefeated. Spuds, waving the police whistle, got a souvenir, too. Who wants to buy a genuine police whistle? Slight pre-loved condition. Pat, from Corky's shoulders. Oh, my poor little heart. What an adventure. Dawdle just shakes her head, a tired smile forming. Dawdle, I need a very large cup of tea, and possibly a lie down for a week. Corky gently sets Pat down, then slumps onto a large armchair, his corkscrew head resting against the back. Carmel Bunny leans gracefully against the bar, a soft, satisfied sigh escaping her lips. Cavi just stares at her bare feet, shaking her head. Toad is already planning the next escapade. Toad, that was exhilarating. Next time, we must incorporate a chase sequence through the Rye Market, perhaps with hot air balloons. Daniel slides down the wall, kebab still clutched in his hand. He looks at the exhausted, drunken faces around him. Daniel, Vio, they were all so mad, so utterly, unbelievably, wonderfully mad, and for a night, I was one of them. The ache for home was still there, a constant hum beneath the surface, but tonight, it felt a little softer, a little less lonely. He takes a bite of his kebab, a small, genuine smile on his face. The world outside may be a mystery, his true life a distant memory, but here, in Rye, amongst these ridiculous, chaotic, and oddly endearing characters, he had, for a brief, glorious moment, found a place to run, a place to hide, a place to laugh. The sounds of distant sirens fade into the night.